Even though we are moving the body, we are moving to access the inside to get this big release and clearing that ends up creating a massive shift, not just in our state and ourself, but so much in our lives. It was the first opening that I had to expressing everything that I just didn't know how to verbally. And I started to just put these pieces together of, wow, I feel really good when I'm doing this. And I feel like myself.
And I wasn't even able to do the marked movements in the class. And I was just like, wow, how did I let myself get here?
When the women do the classes, and they cry. And it seems to be like that is the moment when they break open.
It's just energy, and energy is trying to move. And the more we don't move it, the more we then try to do things to take it away. Get movement and exercise as a love letter to yourself to fall back in love with yourself again. And through movement, it's not like there's something wrong with me, but there's like something right with me.
Jaycee, I don't know if you know, I don't know how you could, but you're a big part of our daily lives through the class, which for our listeners is a method. Maybe you can tell us what it is, because it's always challenging to identify what it is, I think. But you could call it an exercise class, but it's more than that. It's an embodiment practice. And it's been a big part of my evolution as a woman in my feminine energy, coming out of decades of very rigid Iyengar yoga work, and Penelope and her journey in losing 160 pounds, and in our house. And anyone who's here feels the wall shaking at least once a day, with my sound, with the sound.
A sound.
I'm sure our neighbors experience it as well. Guests who come. I mean, so wow. It's like, of course, the dog. I sometimes think it's kind of not good for her ears, but it's okay.
Yes, I often think it would be so fun to do like a documentary or just like a little video of all of the people that receive the class. You know what I mean? Like the neighbors and the people in the house, of just like their account of what's happening. Like a little group for them.
Is everything okay?
Yes,
or the daughters, the sons of the moms who are doing the class. Because I remember being the daughter of that, and I was like, are you okay, Mom? So now you guys must be really confused and intrigued.
Okay, so what is the class?
Okay, so we are a movement practice. Our technology blends movement, music, breath, and sound. And the sound is the vocal release that we make in class that ranges from like a huh to like a huh to sometimes a huh. And all of those things combined together create a somatic experience for people to release physical, energetic, and emotional tension. So even though we are moving the body, we are moving to access the inside to get this big release and clearing that ends up creating a massive shift, not just in our state and ourself, but so much in our lives. And I think the big thing that people always say about our practice, that you get the traditional exercise part 100%, but it's really everyone's stories about how the class has changed their life, how it's gone into their relationships, how it has shifted them as a parent, how it's shifted them as a partner, how it has shifted them in their careers. And it's like the gift that just keeps on giving and giving.
How did you get into it?
So my background is movement. I often say saved my life. I, as a young child, lived in a large house with lots of people, and I had a lot of siblings, and there was a lot of energy, there was a lot of chaos, and there wasn't a lot of communication skills, and I had no skills about emotional regulation, especially as a child. And I felt everything. I felt everybody's feelings. I felt a lot of like feelings that I had that I didn't know how to communicate and express. And I suffered greatly with headaches and digestion stuff and allergies and just like an overall theme of depression. And when I found movement via dance, thank goodness my mom put me in dance classes when I was very young, it was the first opening that I had to expressing everything that I just didn't know how to verbally. And I started to just put these pieces together of, wow, I feel really good when I'm doing this. And I feel like myself. I feel like I'm connecting with something. And then I would go back into certain environments where there would be a lot of chaotic energy or not a lot of boundaries. And then those same things would start happening again. And then I would go back and move and be like, huh. And as I got older, I just started to piece together what was happening for myself. And then that became the path that I followed through different ways of studying dance, and that led me to yoga, and that led me to spirituality, and then spirituality led me to energy and more of like the healing. And at some point in my journey, I got into competitive dance and really fell in love with partner dance, ballroom dance, and that connection between two humans without words. And I was really like, wow, I'm really more inept in communicating through my body and energy, but less through my words, and saw that that was like an opportunity for me to learn how to actually express myself with my words. And thankfully, that was through the journey of the class, where when I met Taryn, our founder, and took my first class, it was like everything came together for me. My background in dance and spirituality and yoga and communication and expression and deeper connection all came together. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want to be a part of it. And I just kept coming and coming and coming to class. And not that much longer, Taryn had the foresight just to be like, what do you think about maybe trying to teach this thing? And here I am over 10 years later.
And training teachers.
Training teachers, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. You're the chief experience officer, and probably a lot more.
Many hats. We all wear many hats, but yes. So I teach. I work on the corporate side and work on the training side and the digital content side, and just basically everything where the method of the class kind of goes and who transmits it is the realm of my role.
Beautiful. Well, you may not know this, but during COVID, I had just found out about the class before COVID hit. And I was so delighted that you guys got into digital, honestly, before COVID hit, just before. That was just incredible. And so Penelope kept hearing me, because we were at home all the time, and I was doing at least 1, 2, sometimes 3 classes a day. And she'd be like, what the heck is Mom doing? And you can tell the story, Penelope, because...
Yeah, at that time, I was suffering with depression and anxiety and PCOS, and I was 320 pounds at the time. So I wasn't really leaving my room or moving at all. And it was every day at like 6 or 7 a.m. and I'm sleeping. You know, I probably just went to bed a few hours before she started the class because I wasn't sleeping much. And when I was sleeping, she was doing these workouts and she was yelling and screaming and the walls were shaking. And we live in a really small house, you know, in little California, in Marin. And she was just yelling and I was like, is she okay? I remember the first day I walked out of my room and I'm like, is everything, like I didn't say anything, but I just like, Pete, like, is she okay? Like, what's going on? Why is she yelling? Yeah. And then every morning she kept doing it and I kept looking out my door. I was like, what's going on here? And the day I decided to kind of take my health over and things like that, I was just tired of not being able to move, walk, go up the steps, breathe normally. You know, I was just tired of living in that body. Yeah. I was super uncomfortable. And she was doing the class one day. And it was like 10 o'clock or something. I think you were doing Natalie's class. I don't even remember. And I walked out of my room, and I see her doing the class. And I decided to join her. Now, mind you, I was 320 pounds at the time, so I was against working out. I was against her working out. I was against moving. I just thought, you know, it's impossible. It's hard. It's just not possible for me. And so I just marked the movements, you know, just one arm, you know, exactly how you guys teach, which I love that you guys do that. And it's helped me, but it was a really hard workout. And I think I started crying by doing the arm movements because I was so confronted with how uncomfortable I was because I hadn't been moving, because I couldn't go up the steps and I wasn't even able to do the marked movements in the class. And I was just like, wow, how did I let myself get here? And seeing you was really confronting too, because she can do all of them. You know, she's doing the full burpee and the full jumping jack, and I'm like one arm out of breath. And it was hard, but that's like the first day on that journey that I went on that I actually kind of had some sort of connection with her in years.
Wow. Because
I hated her for being the workout girl, for being the healthy mom, for being the beautiful mom, for always being on the big things and the big podcast and being a model and all of these things. I just envied her everything for so long and never thought I could be that. And then I joined her, and it was like very confronting for me.
And I'm like, okay, do I ignore her? How do I like mask my excitement right now? And I'm just like, I gotta like pretend like this is not the biggest deal ever because she hasn't left a room in 2 years. And I was just like trying to like manage myself to contain my excitement. And then lots of tears were shed. Lots of it. She's like, Mom, don't look at me. And I'm like, right, of course not.
Yeah, I would do the class with my back facing you because I couldn't look at you. I do remember that.
Yeah, but thank God it's online because I remember feeling like I wanted to do it more. It's like you have this opening, and for those of you who are listening, exercise is one thing. Like when it's a thing that's on your list, I got to get my workout in. I've got to get my cardio in. I got to get my resistance training. By the way, the class is all of it. The class is dynamic stretching. It's cardiovascular. It's resistance training. It's sculpting. I mean, so you have like the whole gamut in just 60 minutes. So I believe it is the package for the modern woman, for your emotional, spiritual, physical workout, so to say, but it's so much more than that. So when it shifts from checking it off the to-do list to this is part of my self-care, this is part of my life, it shifts everything. So I teach a kind of something, I don't know what I call it, an embodiment practice in our program for our women. Nice. And when the women do the classes, and they cry, and it seems to be like that is the moment when they break open, and then they get really serious, and then they lose the weight. I mean, it is so precious.
Wow. And I mean, hearing all of your accounts and stories is just like, wow. I'm just like, wow. I mean, I could just start crying right now, just, feeling you and your journey and that moment of feeling in your body again. And then also not only connecting to yourself, but it was the moment that you connected together.
I think you took a photo of that day. I think so. That was yeah. And then I kept doing them with her. After that, she'd invite me, and I usually would say no, but I started saying yes, and then I started doing them without her. And I was doing the 6 a.m.s without you because you were sleeping in or whatever, and then I was doing them more than her. And I was like, I did 2 classes today, whatever it was, but it was just like I started having fun, and that's what I've always loved about the class is that it doesn't feel like a workout. It is a dance party to me, and it's like a time, like you guys always say, like you could just lay there the whole time if you need to, like whatever you need to do. But the for me and for the woman watching, a lot of girls even my age, they hate exercise. They hate how exercise feels, and when you are so overweight too, you also don't really like exercise because it's uncomfortable. But this didn't feel like exercise. This felt like whatever I wanted it to be, and it was also helping me feel better and have more energy and lose weight and be healthier, and actually be able to walk up the steps again and actually be able to do a jumping jack, and so that for me was very impactful. And I started sharing it with my friends. My cousin, she was also struggling with depression, anxiety, and she would start doing them with me and joining me and my mom. And that was like a miracle because she had depression and anxiety, and she started doing them with us.
Wow.
And feeling better. And so it was just like moving is healing, and like everything you guys say is true. But people don't experience that day to day because I feel like in the media, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you just have to lift weights or you just have to go on a run. And it's like, that's not always fun for everyone.
Well, it goes back to what Jaycee said. She said she wasn't really taught emotional regulation tools.
Right.
And she was born a very sensitive person. And this is something that, how is anyone supposed to learn emotional regulation tools? Is it not going to be from television? Most likely not in your family. Definitely not in school, even if you're a psychiatrist or a psychologist.
I often honestly just marvel at the wonder of how any of us do anything. I often am like, wow, with the information that we have now and the information we didn't have then, or even just how some of this stuff, and I'm so thankful that it's really for what you're doing and making it more mainstream and getting the information out there, that it is available for more people because it is life-changing. But I do marvel of how anybody does anything. And so much of what we help people through in the process of the class is managing emotion, sensation, and energy. And what really helped me was that I was just a sensitive being. I am a sensitive being, but I really believe we all possess that. I don't think I'm like special in any way. And it's just energy, and energy is trying to move. And the more we don't move it, the more we then try to do things to take it away. And this is where we can learn unhealthy habits of like, I'm feeling a certain way. I don't know what to do with I'm feeling, so I'm going to do anything I can to suppress it, stop it, bypass it, numb it, distract. And then we do something, but the feeling's still there. So now your body's holding on to all of that energy. It has nowhere to go. And the more we stuff and the more we push down, the more disconnected we feel. And this is where, in my experience, like the physical stuff starts happening, the mental stuff starts happening, like the depression and the anxiety and the back pain and the digestion and the allergies, because everything is just like being so compressed into your body and absorbed. So the energy is looking for somewhere to go. And if we don't know how to manage it, then we're doing all of these external things to try and get it to go away. And what we're doing is helping people identify first even how they're feeling, which is radical in itself. Like, how do you feel? Not what you think, but how do you feel? Access to your inner self. And then once we can access that, then through the movements, we're actually processing the energy and the emotion, the range and spectrum from anger to grief, to sadness, to joy, to celebration, to I don't know, to I feel uncomfortable in my body, to I feel amazing in my body. And if we can witness that without judging it, put it in motion, this is where you were saying, this is where the break can happen. And then at times there's an emotional release, and that might be crying, it might be tears, but now we have a tool to work with in life when strong emotions and sensations, because this is life, there's no escaping any of it. Like, the more spiritual you get, the world still is the same. Stress and tension are going to be everywhere, challenges everywhere. We're not going to get away from it. So it's really how you deal with it.
Yeah, totally. And I think energy in motion is what you said. And emotion is energy in motion. And if it gets stagnant, then it gets stuck. And then, like you said, we stuff it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of our audience is interested in obesity, right? Many of you are struggling with your weight and you're looking for the solution. And this is one conversation that's completely overstepped in the weight loss conversation. Like, unfortunately, a lot of those people are just wearing their heart on their sleeve. Yes, they might have metabolic dysfunction. Yes, they might have, whatever issues. But it's a really, really big topic. And I think that big topic, not intended, just a slip. But I think that, like Penelope described, people feel like it's such a big stretch to go into the class. Like, it can be intimidating for them. But that's why the online community, I think, is so great, as long as you're not distracted.
You can do it in the privacy of your home. You can do it with a friend, a trusted friend. You can take a 10-minute class. You could take a 20-minute class. You could work your way up to the 60-minute class. You could take all of the impact out. You can adjust all of the moves. And we really do, thank you for calling that out, a lot of training around making it accessible for people to just have it meet you where you're at, so that, because I think we've all felt that when you come into something and you're expected to do it perfect or the right way, there's a barrier to entry, and most likely we won't stay with something if that's there. Like, we won't do it again. More likely we won't do it a couple times a week. So this is just show up however you are. Just show up.
The expectations also of ourselves. Like, I've been dealing with a wrist injury lately, and I'm frustrated about it. I'm like, I want to do it. Like, but it's like, okay, well, I get to try different things.
Yes.
And it's been really fun, actually. Now I'm in the fun phase, but the first few weeks I was like, ugh. I really don't like this injury. Why is it like that? But I expect myself to do it. And I think, most people can, relate to that.
Well, we had a friend come in town, and I was like, I was helping her lose weight because she was like, I want to get healthy. And so we did like a little journaling of it. It's on our channel if you guys want to go look at that. But she came, and I was like, look, one of the things we have to do every day is we have to do the class. that's the way we're going to get our movement in, because she loves fun. So if anyone who loves fun, you'll love the class because it's fun, and she agrees that it's fun. But this marking the movement is really important because her belly would get in the way of her doing certain moves, and being able to do half the movement or half the arm movement helped her so much. And I remember you and I took the class, we kind of tried to make our own little workouts for our program, and I had to sit in a chair doing them, and I was like, wow, like there are people who struggle, who literally have to sit in the chair and do the arm raises, and that's okay, but it's really important to make them feel like they can do it still. And that's what I love about what you guys do. And also Tara was able to do the class every day.
And she was sore.
And she kept doing it, and she felt better afterwards.
She had breakthroughs.
Yeah, she did. And things got hard, but she pushed through, and she kept marking. And it was just so beautiful to see that. Yeah. And experience that.
100%, because not all emotions are easy. And that's one thing that I think is interesting about the method, is that, you intentionally use music to bring up stuff. And it might be there. It also might not be there alive in me that day. But there's usually a remnant that I just am stepping over or ignoring. Oftentimes when I'm asked how I'm doing, I can tell you how Penelope's doing. I can tell you how my boyfriend's doing. I can tell you how the dog's doing. But I haven't gotten around to me. So this is like housekeeping. I feel like if we wipe the counters down, we scrub the floor, and this is like the internal housekeeping. But prior to it, I think I had some ideas about it, like you, but I didn't really know how to do it. Yeah. And this is so easy, in a way. So it's extraordinary. But for you, do you not tire of it, or think I just want to do something else, or I just, enough of all this, I just want to go for a walk on the beach and just be mindless and move, or I'm curious because you've been doing it for now over a decade.
Yes, I honestly, I never tire of it. I love teaching so much. If anything, I want to teach more. I'm more fired up to share the method. I love taking class. I take class multiple times a week. It's part of my job, but also I really enjoy doing it. And I add in all of the things. I take a walk. I walk my dog multiple times a week. We go to the beach. I'll take yoga classes. I'll do my own practice. I do a lot of walking just by myself too. So I definitely don't tire it. And there are days where I mark all the movements, and that's where I am. But I just love being in the energy and the space, and then doing my own work, because I feel when we're facilitators and people holding space for others, there's a strong responsibility that we're doing our own work so that our vessels can be clear and we're not projecting, and we're really keeping ourselves also in line to be the vehicles.
Outside of the online community, there's New York and LA.
Yes, so we
moved here from New York.
I moved here from New York. The class first started in New York in 2012. We opened our Tribeca studio in 2016, and then we started building the LA community in 2015 via pop-ups. We were going to open. Pandemic happened. Thankfully, Taryn Toomey, founder, brilliant, had the foresight to start the digital platform before the pandemic. We started that, pandemic happened, we pivoted totally to the digital studio, and now we stream in over 80 countries, which is amazing. Multiple classes every day. And then we got ready about 4 years ago to begin opening the LA space. So I moved 3 years ago from the east side. I'm originally from New Jersey, from the East Coast.
People glaze over sometimes when you go, when you just show up and you just are direct with them. People glaze over all the time. I'm from the East Coast too, and people are just and I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, that's East Coast meets West Coast. And I'm
what do you mean?
I just get really direct sometimes, and people just kind of glaze over.
As an East Coaster?
Yeah, because they're Californians are wait, what just happened? What's going on right now? It's funny, Penelope knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I was very confused in the beginning.
I was my first, and I've lived in LA before. This is my fourth time, but this is the longest time I've ever lived here. But my first experience really just was being jaded as a East Coaster was I just couldn't believe that people talk to you. I was like, wait, you're talking to me. You're looking at me. I'm just so used to in New York, nobody has time for anyone and everyone's in the way, right? So it's just get out of the way. I got to get somewhere. But people would just talk to me for no reason. And I was like, wait, you're just talking to me to talk.
It's like small talk.
Yes, just hey,
wow.
How's it going? are me? Are you talking to me? Like, I just couldn't believe it. My husband's from here. I was like, wow, it's just like so nice. Just chit-chatting. There's time to have a little chit-chat.
Or is there?
Is there? I don't know. Is there?
I question that sometimes. Yes. Penelope, I'm sorry. You were going to say something.
Well, no, I was going to go back to what you were saying about, because you teach these classes. I don't even know. I don't think you can't really fathom what these classes in person or even online really, like, there's a lot of energy that goes on in that room, in that class. And so I really wanted to bring up what you were saying, because you were like, when I'm facilitating that space for others, how do I, how do you kind of collect yourself back up together, right? Because you have the class for others to release their emotions, but then how do you kind of go back? Because what you were saying is you absorb a lot of emotions, where you were saying you did that when you were young.
Yeah.
I also did. I was also dancing when I was young. She put me in dance competitions and dance classes, and I also absorbed everyone's energy.
Yes.
So I'm super curious how, as an adult, you've swoon that way, because you teach a lot, you facilitate a lot, so I'm curious.
A lot of it was trial and error. I would teach and be tired, and teach and feel depleted. And so much of my experience has been like I study something when I feel it in myself versus just studying it to study it. So I was noticing my energy, and then that kind of led me into the world of clairvoyance and how to harness my energy, have energetic boundaries, to use different visualizations while I was teaching, before, during, and after, to take care of my energy boundaries. And that was something that I just didn't know how to do. But over time, with the reps, I began just to learn how to output without exhausting, but also how to stay open without being porous. And I don't think I understood the difference of that. And it wasn't like I was intentionally wanting to be porous. I just was born open. And I didn't know how to have a buffer without closing. Closing for me was armor, and then that was exhausting. So it was learning how to be open, but have a container, and the container doesn't have to be super tight, but it can be spacious, but there has to be something where that energy stays there and this energy stays here. And clairvoyance really shifted it for me, studying those techniques. But a lot of it was trial and error.
Can you describe what clairvoyance is to some people who might not know?
Sure. So clairvoyance means clear seeing, and where people think it's like psychic or you're reading people's minds. And whenever I say that I've studied clairvoyance, people are like, oh, can you see what I'm thinking right now? I'm like, no, I can't. But what it does is it helps you sense and feel energy in yourself, sense and feel energy around you, and build healthy containers, knowing the difference between your energy and someone else's energy, but also studying energy blockages so that you're able to sense through the somatic experience where your energy is blocked, and then also in other people. And there's I don't want to say like a disclaimer there, but there's almost like an oath, I feel like, that I took in these moments of, I don't do that unless somebody asks me to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not like going around reading all of the energies, because that's exhausting. And I don't think I knew the difference between going into people's feelings just because I felt them, and giving myself that, how do I say it? Like, just because I feel something doesn't mean I have to go into it. So kind of like a switch. I'm feeling something, but that's actually not mine to feel. Yeah. With love and light.
That's a very important differentiating factor for yourself and for others, and for your energy and for your peace. I'd like to be practicing that more. Yeah,
and she teaches that. I mean, I received that teaching in your class, where you train us in the moment. Is that yours? You'll ask us. Is that really even yours? You'll ask us again. Maybe you can send that back if it's not yours. You cue us all throughout frequently on that. So that's part of your clear seeing. You must know the room needs that, or the field needs that.
We all need it. I mean, it's really, and if you're, you have that sensitivity gift, which again, I think we all have, we're absorbing all day long. And we're also conditioned to take care of everybody and put ourselves last. And it's a constant everyday thing, even for me, every day. Every day, just like you said, an everyday hygienic energy practice.
Well, the thing is, I love serving others, and I think I've done it to a fault, where I've kind of used it as I've lost myself, so to say, inside of it. And it's giving me an excuse to evade or escape or not deal with. But
our superpowers are sometimes our Achilles heel.
I don't think we're in a time anymore.
Say it again?
We're not in a time anymore where deprivation and avoidance and or procrastination, like I feel like there's this time on the planet, there's something going on where we're being summoned to the edge and where we're like, it's no longer tolerable, acceptable. Like relationships are demanding it, our energy field is demanding it of us, our family members, our everything, ourselves of ourselves, it's really an interesting time to be alive. And maybe all the times were like this and I'm just experiencing an intensity right now, but I doubt it. I think we're all up against it. I feel like it's like this unrelenting fire of transformation that's just like, you have to look at this now. And you have to transform it.
The time is now.
Yeah, and I feel like we think we're alone and we're siloed, but we're really not. And that's one of the experiences I have as well, is that I feel like when we're doing this in community with the sound and the synchronized movement, there is something that's happening throughout time and space, like irrespective of the fact that there's someone in Greece and there's someone in Russia and there's someone in England and you're here in LA, the satellite, right? But it's like there's something happening. I'm sure you experience that too.
Yes.
I'm not just making it up.
No. I think that, or not that I think, but what my experience is in how we create these communities and the spaces of the class in the studios and the retreats that we do and the events and the pop-ups that we do is bringing people together, and we're all entering in our own lived experience, which shares a commonality of the human experience, but it's also unique, in your lived experience is different than my lived experience. But there's a general spectrum of emotions that we've all experienced as a human, but also that are just in our makeup. And when we come together and we move on the beat, something shifts in the brain and the brain waves, and then there's like this unlocking that can happen. And I believe there's a term for it with humans moving on the beat, and it stems from the word trance state actually comes from it. It'll come to me. But humans are the only species that can do that. So you might see videos of an animal kind of like bopping to a beat, but they're not able to synchronize together and move harmoniously on a beat all at once. So as babies, we're born to kind of feel that. You see little videos of the heartbeat, and babies just kind of, no one's taught them how to do that. Yeah. So there's a intrinsic natural thing that we're coming back to. And then when we do it together, for me, that experience is like we unlock into the collective consciousness. And then once we're there, we're in that thread of everything. And I do feel we can create incredible impact and change in that space, that it does create a ripple effect, and that we are tuning into humanity altogether.
So Sufism has used it in their worship of God, and then Christianity has shunned it. Not all, but there was a time where it was against the religion to do it. So I think that it's known historically that there is power in this, and how it's wielded, I think, is the question.
Yes.
And the integrity of that container. And I think there are a lot of people who push back on my ideology around embodiment practices. They'll say, well, it's reckless. When you open this Pandora's box, and if you're going to feel your anger, then you're cultivating the anger. Like when you're doing this movement, like there's like it's like there's something that maybe it's bad, right? They're saying like, what do you do? Like, do you ever come up against that kind of dialogue or discussion?
Yeah, there'll be questions from people of like, well, I'm not angry. I don't have any anger, and I find that very interesting because that was me. I was like, I don't have any anger. Everything's great.
And I don't want to go there. Why would I want to go there?
I don't have to go there. And a lot of that was just conditioning. I wasn't allowed to be angry. To be angry as a woman, definitely not. To be angry as a spiritual person, definitely not.
Right.
And how you use it and for what is the difference. We're not causing harm to anyone, right? We're not harming anyone with anger. We're not releasing anger into the world to breed more anger. In fact, the releasing of the anger is to breed more harmony. And without that moving of how you really feel, there is no harmony. So if you're not able to vibrate at a harmonious level, then we're just subtly putting out passive aggressive anger. It's there. You may not be yelling, but it's there. And so for us in this transformative process of actually processing an emotion all the way through, like a wave, it's going to come up, it's going to get loud, and then it's going to crest, and now we're in a more like regulated state. So for me and for us, the bypassing of skipping over it or repressing a non-acceptable emotion for the world societally, right? People don't really like us to be angry, but we're not projecting it on anyone. We're doing it in a safe way that allows us to move that charge to come back to acceptance, love, appreciation, but we're just not skipping over any of those things to get there. And I feel like for myself, that was a lot of what I was taught of, like, just be grateful, just be happy, just be positive, just be thankful, just be nice. And I was like, well, I would do that if I knew how to do it, but I
got the stuff in between in the way.
I have this
gunk.
stuff.
Yeah.
Does that make me bad? Am I a bad person? Am I not spiritual?
No, I get that.
We're human.
That's the New Age community and the spiritual community was very much into bypassing for most of my life until I figured out, that I had to deal with this anger. And I think most people do, but they go to psychotherapy for it. Like talk therapy was not that effective.
For me. No, it wasn't for me. I was in like 3 times a week of therapy, and nothing made me feel better than moving my body and being in the sunshine.
Wow.
Like nothing topped that. No medicine they wanted to offer me or anything could make me feel as good as I did after doing the class, or going for a walk, or getting in the sunlight, or drinking water and eating whole foods. Like, these are little things that I believe if we do them enough, consistently enough over time, to prove to ourselves that we can do these really easy things, we can do it.
I don't think it's easy to confront your anger. I'm not saying, I don't know if that's easy, but, and some people really do get a lot of benefit from therapy, especially if they have a lot of trauma or they've had some really challenging things, Vietnam vets and people who have had sexual abuse. And, there's a lot that has to be unpacked there. I'm glad it worked for you. We did spend a ton of money and time in therapy that wasn't that effective. I
got more out of the class. One workout with the class I did out of 10 sessions of therapy.
That's happened to me, and it's happened to like thousands of my clients as well. I mean, it's really, really powerful.
Wow.
I think this nonverbal thing is bigger, and that's why talking about it, just for you, the audience, to understand, like, we're not really doing it justice. I really want everyone to go to the class.
We have
you guys had 2 weeks free.
We have a special code for you at Step It Up for 20% off the digital subscription, so you can try that, and then obviously come to the studio in New York or LA. And I love therapy, and talk therapy has been very helpful for me in connection with moving my body. It's a different expression when we're cognitively and verbally communicating, and then when the body is communicating. And what I love about what we do, because we live on a day-to-day basis very much in the mind and need to use the mind all the time, but the body's secondary. So it's like thinking, executive tasks, getting things done, prioritizing, working, planning is all happening cognitively, but then everything else is not at the forefront of the experience. So in the class, we give this a break, and then we let the body do the talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see how that collaboration is important, because a lot of the memory and the pain and the trauma is all held in the fascia. So it does make sense to use both. But you have a really good therapist, and they're few and far between.
Like anything.
Yeah. One thing I love about the class, just going back to what you said, is about the emotional regulation. So the point being regulate. Some of the things I've witnessed, and I think I mentioned early on that I've been doing this Iyengar yoga.
Yes.
So I've been taught by BKS Iyengar's protege for the last 25 years, and been doing yoga for like over 30. In New York, back in the 90s, right when it kind of hit, Jivamukti and all those places, classic. And the yoga is incredible, right? But a lot of these practices, kind of found out, were developed by men. And a lot of that stillness and that like consciousness, oneness with consciousness in the stillness is very valuable. But I felt like I cultivated a lot of masculine energy, being raised by a single mom, and then doing this really disciplined practice. And the class, coupled with dance, has been great at cultivating the feminine. And then when I started learning about the breath work, not pranayama, but the holotropic breath work and the modern breath work, it can get a little bit like wild. And so this crest that you were talking about, and then it like coming to, it's not like you're activating the anger, let's just say that in the burpee. And then there's this regulation, the softer music, and then like a quieter, and then a seated. Yes. So it's very, I at least from my experience, it's very intentional.
Yes.
About how it's architected. Whereas some of these other practices can bring it up, and then what?
Right.
And then it's kind of just left out there. And I think that's when we find this kind of recklessness with the different aspects of the emotional regulation. And it's almost like the wild, wild west, since there's no formal structures that we're given, just like nutrition. Like there's doctors don't know about it, parents don't know about it, schools aren't teaching it. It's like emotional regulation and nutrition, but these are so key. And two things that we really focus on in our program that are just essential to learn as adults in our spiritual maturity and in our lives. But the food kind of just takes second chair when you get the emotions regulated. It's so interesting, all the wacky things we do to regulate our emotions.
Yes, yes. I, for a long time in my seeking for something of a way to express myself and not knowing what my needs were and didn't know what to do with my feelings, it was sugar, for sure. It was like, get the high, get the quick release, bypass the thing, feel better. And I had a spiritual teacher at some point in my journey pose these questions to me of like, you're trying to nurture yourself and love yourself with the sugar, but like, what is the real love you need? And he used the word mothering. He was like, I think he was like, the sugar for you is a way to you to try to mother, to get the mothering maybe that you didn't get. And how would you do that if it wasn't through this? And I was like, wow. It like looked at sugar in a totally different way. And of course I still eat sugar.
You do?
But yes, in moderation and a certain kind of sugar and ones that make me feel okay. But I was really using it to self-soothe from a hole that was there, that no amount of sugar is ever going to fill that hole.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Green tea or coffee? What do you drink?
Coffee, but I do love green tea, and I love coffee.
What's like one of your favorite meals?
I love sushi. I love anything plant-based. I love fish. And then if I'm like, what's my favorite fun food? And it doesn't necessarily have to be fun, but I like French fries.
Nice. Nice. Any foods you miss from New York that you can't get here?
Not really. I don't really miss. The only real thing that I notice difference from New York that I miss is that, is it soft water here and hard water there?
Yes.
Hard water?
I think so.
It's just
or the
that,
opposite.
Yeah. Whatever it is that.
The water is different.
And my curls just don't like it as much. That's all.
Oh, right. It's less humid.
Just whatever that thing is was the only thing that I was like, my curls just are not the same. Well worth the trade-off, though.
What is one of the biggest challenges that you see people come in with and leave without?
So I think one of the reprogramming opportunities that I see a lot is that we were taught that movement or exercise is punishment and discipline, that like it's because we're bad. We have to exercise because we're bad, or because we ate something, or because our body looks a certain way, and this is why we must exercise to fit a certain size outfit or whatever. And it comes in very much at a deficit and a scarcity place, and negative. And what I love so much about what we do in the class is this opportunity to look at movement and exercise as a love letter to yourself, to fall back in love with yourself again. And through movement, it's not like there's something wrong with me, but there's like something right with me. And can I speak to the health in my body? And can I speak to, I'm here doing this because I love myself so much. I care about myself so much, which is different than I'm here doing this because I was told I had to, or I need to punish myself to feel good. And I think we're taught the harder the workout and the more intense and the worse you feel, the better the workout is. And ours is like, it can be fun, it can be enjoyable, it can be serious, it can be deep, it can be whatever you need it to be. But it's more about how you feel versus how we should look. So I think that thing of seeing people fall in love with their bodies again or fall in love with movement again, of wow, I never thought I would feel this way about movement or myself is really remarkable.
And what would you say is one of the biggest transformations you've seen? Like maybe someone came in too afraid to even come in or whatever that may be, like what mentally or whatever it may be.
It ranges from stories like yours. I mean, yours is an amazing story to hear how the class has transformed your life, but changed your way of living. I mean, it gave you life in that way, you know? From everything of people working with, they've never used their voice before, they've never yelled, they've never opened their mouth and let out any sound at all. Stories of having to hold in their voice even through childbirth, you know, and like repress, and then finally coming to the class and unlocking the years of holding the voice in. Wow. Feeling their strength maybe for the first time, feeling their femininity for the first time, leaving a relationship, starting a relationship, moving, starting a different business, separating from unhealthy relationships. I mean, I feel like there's just so many shares and stories of how the class has changed people's lives.
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of minutes.
Yeah. And I'm sure you have triple that, 10 years.
In 10 years, yeah. I have no idea how many classes I've taught or taken in 10 years. I'm sure it's a lot.
Well, and then there's also retreatments, which I think is a great name. And are they fun for you?
Retreatments are the most fun. I mean, I love teaching the class, but to be able to get a group together, so if you're listening to what that is, we go on retreat together, and there's lots of different places in the world we've been, and we have a group, and we do the class every day for at least 2 hours. And that's an extended version of the class. And something really unique happens when we remove ourselves from the day-to-day, where you're not going to class and then having to go to work or take care of a family member, or just like go from this experience and then back out into the world, where you get to just marinate in the work for a much longer period of time in a community of people that are there for maybe not all of the same reasons, but like a shared experience. And not have to worry about, it's such a luxury to, all the meals are prepared for you, everything's taken care of you, and you just get to do your work.
And the places you choose are really beautiful, whether it's Spain or
Mexico,
Hawaii,
Peru, Taos, New Mexico. Yeah, a lot of amazing places. So that's like a deep dive, immersive experience. I have people that come on retreats. It's their first class they've ever taken, ever. Every retreat, there's always a handful of people where it's their first experience in the class.
That's
so
fascinating.
Cool. Yeah, so cool.
Wow. So that's your favorite, the deep dives.
I mean, it's all, I love it all. I really, truly, I love it all. I feel so lucky. I really do.
And the class was founded then a few years before you started, but do you consider yourself a founding teacher? Or
I am. My title is a founding teacher, so I was the first teacher of the class outside of our founder, Taryn Toomey, and I very much was like, I didn't see what she saw in me. You know, she was like, I really think this is for you, and I just was like, yeah, I'm watching you do this, and there's no way I can do this. How are you talking while you're doing this? How are you guiding while you're doing this? I just was so amazed in it that I didn't see it for myself, but she did, and she was just one of those people that was like, kept planting the seed. Like, I think this is for you. I think this is for you. I think this is for you. And then I taught my first class in 2014, and and then that was really it.
And now you've created the whole teacher training.
Created the teacher training program, and then I work in that department. We train teachers, and it's an immersive journey, that as well as to become a class teacher. And yeah, it feels like it feels like yesterday, and it also feels like lifetimes.
Interesting. When you think about 10 years down the road, what do you envision?
I want this method to live forever. I mean, I want the legacy of the class to be a global somatic practice that helps people in their life, from all of the things we've shared to spanning ages and demographics, and just becomes one more of those regularly practiced terms of yoga or Pilates or exercise, that it just is part of how we can take better care of ourselves and practice the practice of life.
I feel like there's a readiness when someone gets to the class. For some, it's like there's a kind of opening that got created, whether we understand it consciously or not. And then there's other iterations of what the class represents that I feel like there's a lot of space opening up in the market because there's so much need. People are just desperate for different solutions. And some of the medications that are being used and some of the other things that are being used, are just not really working. They're actually causing harm, like they did for us. Yeah. And I can't say that, I'm 100% like healed and enlightened, because I'm not. I'm in a practice every day, but the class has been really helpful.
Wow.
Really, really helpful. And also for our programs, it's really, really helpful. For some people who are willing, some people are intimidated by it.
Yes.
Really intimidated by it.
It's a lot. I mean, we're a lot. It's a lot. We're a lot. And when it's not for everyone. There's a lot of people it is for. It's definitely maybe not for everyone, and that's okay. And I hope that person then just finds whatever their thing is, It's like my husband meditates by surfing. He's not a sit-down meditator. Great. Whatever works for you, you find your thing. But it is, it's loud, it's sweaty. The music is, you're kind of at a rock concert, but also at a dance club, and
it's sober.
And a deep yogic spiritual experience all happening together. And I could understand how, maybe like working your way up to all of that could be a thing.
When it's unapologetic, there isn't really shyness in it.
No, people sometimes they'll walk by and they're like, what are you doing in there?
Exactly.
What is happening in there?
And often, if I go to a live class, I always prefer to go the one that's going to be recorded for later, because the experience live is there's just so much happening.
Yeah.
That in fact, I want to do the class again later, because there were so many things that I missed. From being live.
So take it in person and then take it again.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
That's cool.
Yes,
I've never heard that before.
For those of you who are listening, the classes that you take online are for the most part live, and they only exist for a few hours. And that must have been a really big decision for the class, because you could have 10 times the amount of recorded classes in your library that you don't have because of music rights. I mean, that's huge, a huge decision. But it was just so valuable that you decided.
I'm so happy.
I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, so if you're curious about our digital platform, you can subscribe to our digital platform and you get a whole library of on-demand video content. So those are pre-recorded classes that range from 10 minutes to 60 minutes. We have yoga, we have breathwork, we have sculpt classes, we have resistance training, we have meditations, breathwork, body-specific classes if you want to work on your posture or upper back or mobility and things like this. And then our studios serve as production houses so that all of our in-person classes are live streamed to over 80 countries. And there's a period of time that you can watch those live streams, and then they're no longer available. And it's so interesting to hear how each person resonates with the offerings, because for some people, they prefer the on-demand class, and for some people they prefer the live energy class or the live stream class. And for some people they feel more accountable, that okay, the 10:30 live stream, or I'm going to show up at that time, and that's how I keep myself accountable, because I know the class is happening.
And you can't pause it, you know, if you miss it, it's gone.
Yes. Versus someone who's no, I really love the flexibility that I can just do any class I want at any time. And that's how their entry point works.
And I want it all.
I'm so happy to hear that.
No, but it's very interesting. I think a lot of places probably wouldn't make those decisions, but I think that there's a huge value. There at least is for me.
I'm so happy to hear that.
No, yeah, me too.
The live classes.
Live classes.
Trying to get as much as we can to everybody out there.
And for those of you who do subscribe to the digital platform, you need good sound. I just want to say, like, the experience is so much more profound if you have either great earbuds or a great seriously
sound system. Plug in an external speaker, connect to the Sonos, crank it up.
It really matters. I attended my first class with Taryn Toomey, the founder of the class, and I think she was even impressed at the sound system in LA. She was just like, wow, because it goes like 8 speakers and that's not really that little.
But for counting all those speakers, yes, it's a great sound. People always, it's one of the things that people walk out saying is like the sound in here is amazing. So that's props to our tech team.
And the floor.
We have a sprung floor, so if you're practicing in New York or LA, we have a sprung floor, so that makes the impact and the jumping more joint friendly.
So what do you do for fun, Jaycee?
I mean, this is fun for me. I'm having the best time being here with you and chatting about all the things that I love and seeing your amazing land and meeting your dog. Like, this is a great day. I mean, I'm so thankful. So this is fun. Hanging out with my dog is fun. I'm very like the simple things are the fun things for me. Walking with my dog, being out in the sunshine, taking a swim, being in the beach, just like the most fun. Laughing with my friends.
Is there something you learned recently that inspired you?
Recently?
Or lately? This year?
I'm going to close my eyes for a second. There's always so much information I'm taking in all the time. I'm always reading. I'm always studying. And right now we're doing a book club at the class through our digital private Facebook group for the digital subscribers. And the book I chose is Pixie Lighthorse's book, Boundaries for Yourself and Others, Energetic Boundaries. And it's a lot of things that probably, if you're in this world, like, you know some of them, but she goes very much into looking at the boundaries set in your early environment by your caretakers and examples, and how just we absorb what those boundaries look like and repeat them, which is kind of with a lot of things. But it gave me a different way to look at my own boundaries as like an example of what was set for me. And the beauty with all of this is always like, whatever the example was and what was set doesn't mean that it's there forever. There's always room to shift and change it into what you need to be, or what you want it to be for yourself. So I've been doing a lot of revisiting that of like, what were the boundaries set? What were those examples? And how did that play out? And how am I still, like you said, there's always a little remnant. There's always a little like residue left, even if we're working on it, just like a little something of how I can better model that. As someone who's a facilitator, but also as someone who manages a team and trains people. Like, how do I better model that?
If we don't see it, we can't change it. We're not even in a position of choice to modify or amend or augment or whatever it is. And oftentimes the low-hanging fruit is the thing that we think we need to address, like a parent that was not faithful, or whatever, someone who was overtly abusive. But that may not be actually the most important thing, especially when it comes to nuanced energetic boundary work. Sometimes it's the overbearing parent, where there's like this kind of getting their needs met by us, and we allowed it because we didn't know any better. So it's interesting to like really dive into that.
Totally.
That's a really beautiful, beautiful journey.
And something really just fun and unrelated that I learned recently, because now that summer's my favorite season, and now that we're shifting seasons, and the amount of hours of light that we're going to have is going to start to change. And winter is hard for me. Like, time change is hard for me. Waking up in the dark, it's getting dark at 4 p.m. I like start using my red light and all the things. It's challenging for me. So I started just wondering, we have 24 hours in a day, and there's a period of time where the amount of light and the amount of darkness is equal. And then as we go through the year, the amount of light and darkness starts to shift and change, where then we're going more darkness, less light, and then the summer is more light and less dark. And then I started wondering what it was like on other planets. And I did this little deep dive into how many hours in a day for all of the different planets. And I was blown away how they ranged from the different planets from like 8 hours to like thousands of hours in a day. And how brilliant that we live on a planet with 24. 24.
Right.
And what would it be like if we had 8 hours in a day? And what would it be like if we had thousands of hours in a day?
The implications are infinite.
It is infinite.
Wow.
Yes. I thought all the planets had all the same hours.
Yeah, right. I
don't know why I thought that, but I just was like,
Wow.
Yeah. So it really shifted. I'll often say things like, I wish there was more hours in the day. And then when I really saw how many hours there were in the day, I was like, I'm actually very grateful and happy that there's 24 hours on our planet.
And or is it a construct that we can, I don't know, create more
Yes.
time? Isn't there like
Yes.
experience where you
Yes.
feel like there's so much time other
Yes.
days where it's just like, where did the time go?
Yes.
So it's just also an experience. The more present I can become, the more enjoyable the time is in general.
How we use it.
How we use it, yeah. I like when I swim, time just disappears. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's been an hour. Or it's been, oh my gosh, I got to get going.
That's how it is in the class. We suspend time and space for sure.
Anything you'd like to leave our listeners with, like wisdom, nuggets, just whatever you think that they need to hear from Jaycee Gossett?
That's very kind of you to offer. I'll just say that you can find us at theclass.com, visit us in Santa Monica or Tribeca in New York City. Join the digital platform. We have that discount for you. There's also a 2-week free trial. And there's a grace that we don't often give ourselves. And I think the world sometimes demands we don't give ourselves that grace. So wherever you are in your journey, my hope for you is to give yourself that grace to, if it's not today, maybe it's tomorrow, just that whatever it is that you want for yourself is possible, and when the timing clicks for where you are, it will unlock. But to keep going.
That is so profound, because we're hard on ourselves.
So hard.
Oftentimes the women who have tried the hardest are the ones who can't lose the weight, because the dieting has damaged their metabolism so severely, and their idea of working harder and depriving themselves has been their apparatus modi. That's been what worked. All of a sudden it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And I know that's what happened to me. And then it's like this constant journey of repair, love, but not necessarily, tipped over into permissive parenting, body positivity love, in that extreme, but like the true love of just caring for yourself and doing what you know is right.
Yeah.
It can get a little hairy out there. Yeah. So I love those words of wisdom.
Yeah, keep on keeping on. I hope you try the class or some version, and that there is a movement modality out there for you. And whether it's not the class, there is something that could bring your body and your heart a lot of joy. And I hope you find that.
Right? African dance.
Anything.
Salsa.
Put a song, put your favorite song on, and just let your body do whatever it wants to do. Whatever it wants to do for 2 minutes. See how that feels.
That could change someone's life.
That could change someone's life. It really could. It really could.
Wow. Jaycee's one of my favorite teachers at the class.
Oh,
mine too. I'm just saying it. It's very true.
There are a lot of great teachers at the class, though.
Thank you for that. Very sweet.
Mostly your classes.
It's very kind.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. All of our teachers are fabulous.
They are.
And thank you for saying that.
And they all have different flavors, music tastes, tonality, what's alive in them. So, it's very interesting to see just the diversity of flavors. Just say that.
Yeah.
I'm a chef, so I love,
Yes.
flavors.
Yes. and each teacher has a different background, and that comes from their practices and also their trainings and teachings, but also their lived experience. And sometimes it's the human you need to hear the message from. It's like the voice, and that might not be mine, it might be someone else's, but we're all transmitting the same message, but you just might need, how it's like you can hear something going over and again, but when that person says it, something happens.
So true.
So try different teachers, not just at the class, but all different teachers, because I feel like it'll find you through in the way that resonates for you.
Yeah, and I bet you there are a lot of people who do the class just for the workout. And I think there's some teachers that are also great for that too, that are talking less about all of this stuff that I love, that we're talking about today. You can also just get a great workout.
That's right.
If you want to check it off your list.
Totally.
There's no shame in that. But Albie, do you have any more questions you wanted to ask or anything you wanted to share? I get the feeling there might be something in your heart.
I think one thing that came to me as you were speaking was Before you started teaching and after, is there a lesson you've taken from the overall 10-year journey that you feel has changed your life and could change someone else's life if they heard it or learned it?
Yes. A big part of my programming before I found the class and got this vocabulary and language was I really put the destiny of my life and the trajectory in somebody else's hands. I very much was like, if you could do this, then I'll be this. If you changed, then I could change. If only you were like this, then I would be like this. And I put my freedom and liberation and health and happiness, it was very conditional around someone else. And that was a long journey of understanding codependency and giving up my autonomy, that I am a sovereign being and that my health and my journey and my happiness and my adventures in life are going to be driven and designed by me. And while that's a scary thing of like, oh my God, it's all up to me, it's me, I'm the one that has to do it, it's also the most freeing thing. So a lot of that in the beginning was very hard and heavy for me, and so much of these past 10 years of the class was releasing all of the places that I mentally trapped myself and didn't really believe that I could have freedom around. And whether that was a belief I had about myself, but it was very much tied to other beings.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be what I really want to be because you didn't give me something, or some kind of like external projection and blame, when really it's in me. It's in me. And there's no one else that can do that for me. No amount of teachers or this or that, like, it is in me. And there's a moment, I think, where we recognize that it's in us. It's us. We hold the key. We're the one that unlocks it.
Yeah, especially in the face of rejection and betrayal and whatever life brings.
Yes.
That seems, even a diagnosis of some kind of disease or disease process. Yeah, I mean, those are some of the hardest ones. But the most, like, I love what you said, freeing. Yeah. I mean, I believe in God, like, very, like, fervently. So I know that I'm not alone in it. Just from my, it's a little different than yours, but I mean, I agree with you. It is very freeing, and also can be really challenging, especially when you're in a relationship.
Yes. And there's, that's not saying that I'm alone without spirit. There is support, and I do feel spirit and connection, and I know that I'm not doing it by myself, but it was conditional. Like, well, that thing happened to me, and now for the rest of my life,
that's my scarlet letter. Yeah.
That's it.
Like the divorce or the whatever, cancer, whatever it is that happened. Yeah, that's really beautiful.
And we can keep empowering ourselves in that way. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Does that help?
That helps a lot. That helps me. It helps someone who's listening, because we all really want to make everyone happy, and I think we try to make people happy and care for others. And I even speak for myself, sometimes you can't make everyone happy. You can't rely on everyone for everything. So it's really important to become your best friend, I think. So I feel like you're doing a great job of that, and I feel like what you said will resonate with so many people's hearts. So thank you for sharing your wisdom and your story and everything.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and showing us what's possible.
Yeah.
You are definitely an example. And the energetic boundary work that you're doing, that you're talking about here, like, it's evident in your teaching and in your presence, and not in a way that pushes people away, but like it's cultivated, and I just want to acknowledge you.
It's lovely. Wow. It's lovely too.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for that reflection. It's always nice to be reflected, to know the fruits of your labor, and like the impetus to keep going. Like, for me to keep going.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed this time as much as we have. And if you would like to support our work, consider subscribing to our Substack. We give you all of our insights and recipes so you can live this lifestyle and you can support our work. Don't forget to go to theclass.com. I know it's embarrassingly simple, but theclass.com, and you can get 20% off with the code STEP IT UP. You'll also get 2 weeks free, so you can just try it out. See which teachers you like, and I can only recommend it. So thank you so much for being with us today. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials, and we'll see you all the time.